Call the meeting to order, and I've asked Commissioner Wood if he would pray for us tonight before we start. Everyone have the pleasure of it.
Bow our heads, please. Father, we want to thank you for many of your blessings. We ask that you be here with us tonight. Father, that you give us wisdom, that you bless each and every person in this room and in our community and this nationwide. We pray for that in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone in the audience that'd like to come speak to us about anything for 5 minutes or less?
We got a couple of business here. Can I?
Yes,
approach?
come on. State your name and address. Everybody don't know you like that.
Can I pass some flyers or
Sure.
I don't know allowed?
I think Commissioner Hughes invited a couple of y'all to come speak. Unbeknownst to her at the time, she asked you to come speak. Some organization had scheduled a political forum tonight, and she's in re-election mode, so that's the reason she's not here. So she wanted me to let y'all know why.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Anna Mack. What else do I need to say?
Address.
Address, yes. I live in 40 Richwood Drive here in Tifton. I have been in this community since 2013. And I am here to talk to you about my company, okay? I work for ACE. ACE stands for Access to Capital for Entrepreneurs. What we do is that we actually provide capital. We actually are a lending company. We are a CDFI. We are based in Atlanta. We just opened our second office here in Tifton. Our grand opening was on January the 4th. We are here actually, or our company pretty much stands for empowering minorities, women, and those underserved businesses that are striving to bring their level of service, the level of services a little notch above. So we want to provide them with the capital that they need. We have 3 pillars that sustain our company, and it's the capital, the coaching, and the connections, okay? With the connections, we actually, we are like this group of businesses and group of professionals that we bring, and they actually offer services to these companies that make a loan from us. The coaching part of it, I am a financial advisor, and we actually provide that free service for we actually do a pre and a post loan. If you're not sure about how to grow your business, I am not sure what to do, where do I start, we come in, we help you, we actually help you put together all the paperwork, everything that you need for it. And then after the loan has been approved, we actually come back, and I'm gonna be working with the business to ensure that they stay on track during the length of the loan. So this is a great resource that we offer, and in addition to that, we have something called the Women Business Center, where I know it says women, but we're not gonna turn anybody away. This is a service in which women or any business that they wanna start up, that they are, once again, unsure, I'm not educated, I don't know how to put together a P&L, we can actually coach them, we can train them and give them every resource, every tool for them to be able to expand and grow their business. So this is who we are. We're here to, grow our business within this community. We are actually covering all the way from Macon to the border of Georgia, Florida, and from Savannah all the way to Alabama. So we have a big region to cover, so we are out there spreading the word in case you guys know anybody. Our office is at the Georgia Chamber. That's where we are stay right now. So I gave you that information, and there is our contact information. We have the South Georgia Director, the loan officer, and once again, my name is there, and I am the financial advisor.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank
Appreciate
you. All right, anyone else?
Let me hand this out really quick.
Let me help you with that.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Hi, my name is Jay Cruz. I am, me and my wife, we run the Division, Georgia. We're based out of Warner Robins. You want the address in Warner Robins, or?
Your home address.
Yeah, it's at 302 Bella, that's B-E-L-L-A, Notten, that's N-O-T-T-E, Circle, Warner Robins, Georgia, 31088. So what we do, as you see there, we are newspaper, news media. We started off in 2018 for the mainly focus on the Hispanic communities in Macon, Middle Georgia area. We noticed that there was a lack of information getting to that community, so we decided to do a news channel, a news media in Spanish for them. So what we do, we just do a lot of cover events, share the news that's happening locally with this community. I noticed looking at the Tift County area, we get, according to the census 2020, there's 13.1% of the population is Hispanic, or considered themselves Hispanic. So what we do is we realized that there was a need there, and we decided to tackle that need. That being said, this year we decided to dig into the print newspaper area of the media, and we realized that it's something that it's fully bilingual, English and Spanish. We realized it's not just the Hispanic community that are lacking that connection with the news and events locally. So we decided to do a hyper-local newspaper for our area in Middle Georgia. That being said, a couple years ago, there was a hurricane that passed by Valdosta in this area. We were covering the weather for them, to our channels, to our social media, and we got a lot of people commenting from this area, from Tift County down south. So me and my wife decided, and our team decided to, you know what, let's expand toward the southern side, and they just focus on Tifton first, Tifton and Tift County area, to be able to bring what we have over there over here. And that's what we see right here. Our first edition was that newspaper that just came out in May. Our second one comes out in June. We're going to have some news and events here locally from Tifton. Something important is, and when we talk to Ms. Melissa Hughes, the support that we need is just getting that connections. That's why we partnered up with ACE to be able to connect in the area, be able to connect with government officials like yourself, with organizations, other departments, to be able to bring that information to the community. We also have, obviously, we have the printed newspaper. We also have it in digital, where we do an email blast every month to be able to share the same thing we have there to the community. And so we are completely free, free newspaper. People can pick it up. We're going to be distributing in different areas of the community, and we just survive on advertising and sponsorships. So that being open, so we work a lot with the city of Perry, with Warner Robins and Macon. We're very active in those communities. They actually, some of the communities hire us to cover their events and everything, so we could keep the whole entire community informed. And that's what we're looking for also here. A partnership with the government officials, with the government departments, and organizations and businesses in the area to keep the whole entire community covered with news and media and events. All right?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anyone else want to speak to us?
Got some.
Yes.
Yeah. Chris Birchall, 2415 Madison Drive, unincorporated, Tift County. I just wanted to make a comment about safer roads. It's kind of become a topic for a lot of my friends and neighbors, and not so much just for cars, but also for the more vulnerable road users, bicyclists, pedestrians, wheelchair users. There's a lot of people getting around that way in my neighborhood, and people I know and talk to in the county. And another place where safer roads is coming up on is all the signs you see around town that our friends from Valdosta have brought up about the TSPLOSTII vote. And safer roads is kind of the top selling point for that. And so I just wanted to ask if there's anything that you as a commission, I know that you don't have direct control over most of that money, but if you have done anything to kind of set it up so that that money can be used to make roads safer for pedestrians, bicyclists, and wheelchair users, even those projects, if those projects are funded and come to fruition, or if there's anything that you're planning to do to kind of ensure that safer roads means also safer for those three categories of more vulnerable road users.
Thank you, Chris. Anyone else? All right.
Mr. Chairman, briefly, if I could, one of the things that Commissioner Hughes asked us to talk about was citizens obtaining severe weather alerts in Spanish. I think that was a discussion you had, and our public safety director was gonna be here tonight, but, his one and only child has some kind of graduation thing at school. And, I told him he needed to attend to his kid, and I will try to cover this, so y'all kind of bear with me. He contacted Everbridge. Everbridge is our alert group that, you know, when we send out those text blasts and we send out stuff, it's through a software package called Everbridge. He spoke with the Everbridge representative to see if there was an option. I was informed that they do not currently offer automated calls to Spanish. However, they're looking into it. They discussed creating an additional layer for citizens who wanted their alerts in Spanish. So he thought that this would allow us, and that we can allow us to send this out on a robocall, an automatic call that would be in Spanish. He's going to discuss that with his development team, and we'll be back in touch with Chief Fowler later this week. We also talked with Mark Wool. He's the warning coordination meteorologist with the National Weather Service out of Tallahassee. If you've ever been on a webinar, you know Mark is one of their top meteorologists. He told us that the National Weather Service is currently testing the provision of severe weather alerts in Spanish. Some of these offices are already beta testing this. Tallahassee area was not one of those. But he's agreed to advocate and actually reach out and see if we can start being part of that beta testing. He thinks that there's a really, really good chance that they will allow us to be part of that. We should know that by the end of this week too. And if we get that approval, he's offered to come down and facilitate a meeting with interested citizens and our folks to kind of talk about how we can disseminate that information in Spanish and at what level we can share that information. So I mean, the thing that you got to understand is a lot of this stuff is automatically generated based on the warnings we get from the National Weather Service. So you know, if our software will allow us to do that, then it becomes very, very easy for us to do. So we, you know, both places where we get the information and how we disseminate the information, we've talked to, and they're both in the process of making these changes. And hopefully, we can get the robocall done, and then we can get the information that we disseminate from the National Weather Service in Spanish, so we can send that out too. But I won't do any of that for sure until the end of this week, the first of next week. But we're making, hopefully making inroads with that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Carter.
And if you have questions, you can give Director Fowler a call. His direct office is 388-6062. And he would be glad to kind of keep you updated.
Say that number again, please.
388-6062, 229-388-6062. His name's Joey Fowler.
Thank you.
And hopefully by the end of this week, first of next week, we'll have some information and we'll get back in touch with you guys. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. I think that is a very critical component because, you know, we have these people working in the fields, as we know, when those tornadoes came through Valdosta. It was, you know, these people don't get information what's going on. And I think it would be so good to reach out right there on the spot because, you know, they have phones, but let's just be able to understand what's going on. I think that will be a lifesaver. And I know these folks are advocating very heavily to have that information, and they can connect digitally, and they can, you know, blast this information as it comes to this group. So very important that we have something like that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ma'am.
All right, we don't have any appointments made for anybody to speak with us. We don't have any items to be added to the agenda, so we move on to our minutes. For approval of the work session minutes on April 2nd, 2024, and the regular session on April 8th, 2024. Do we have a motion?
So move.
Second.
All right. All in favor? All right. Yeah, Commissioner Wood, second. Public hearing, 6.1 TZZA 24-04. Chris?
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
Staff presents today to the Board application TCZA 2404 made by Miss Alicia Hill Smith. Her property is located at 2110 Old Ocilla Road. It's a 5-acre tract and is currently zoned ag. She has petitioned and filled out an application to ask to rezone this piece of property from ag to community commercial to be able to build and facilitate an equestrian center where she will do horseback lessons and riding lessons, classes, and also to have an arena from what I understand today, rodeo event, maybe not so much rodeo events, but horse shows and other things of that nature, which would bring in the commercial component for the public and the transportation, traffic, lights, noise, that etc. That's what she is requested to go to as community commercial. In your packet, I have supplied you a map showing the zoning of that area. That area is surrounded by either ag or R1 residential. So there is no commercial component out there in that area at this time. I also provided in your packet the future land use map out of the comp plan, which shows this area to be suburban. Since of the posting of her property and the ads in the paper, we have took many calls. We've had some meetings in our office. As always, our doors are open for any citizen to come in and discuss anything with us. Most of those have been in opposition to this request. During our conversations, there were some folks that asked, was this the best zoning class to go to? This is the less of the commercial that it would fit in. Obviously, it fits in general business, WLI as well, but this would be the less intrusive of those. But there again, there is no commercial zone in that area. The Planning Commission heard this on April 11th, 2024. We had to have that meeting downstairs. We had several people in attendance for Ms. Smith, and then we also had several in attendance that were against it. The Planning Commission voted to recommend denial based upon the application does not meet the 11 zoning standards, nor does it follow the Tift County Comp Plan. So they have recommended denial. Any other questions from the board, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Any questions? Okay. Thank you, Chris. Mr. Brown.
Thank you. We'll conduct a public hearing at this time, and before I open the public hearing also, we'll take everybody in turn, the applicant first and anyone else that is maybe supporting the application. Then we'll hear from anyone that is opposed to the application. At that time, we'll close the public hearing, we'll address the conflict of interest, and then we'll take a vote, okay? So this time, I'll open the public hearing, and will the applicant come forward if you'd like. State your name and address, please.
I'm Alicia Hill Smith, and I live at 370 Eisenhower Road, Rebecca, Georgia. But I own land at 2110 Old Osceola Road. Right there, my family's had it forever. I actually grew up there. I opened up a riding school at my home in Rebecca, and this is how many active children I have coming to me right now. It's a total of 65. I want to build a nice farm. I want to build a nice arena. I want to be able to have these kids events on Saturdays, not during the week at school hours. The kids only come to me in the afternoons or on Saturdays. I think this would be great for Tifton. And plus, I want to ask, I'm concerned, and I don't understand this. I dug up one of my mom's riding school from 1984. She had it on Old Osceola Road. She had shows. She had her children out there. We had church groups. We had schools to come. I worked it because she made me. I was out there every weekend working it. There wasn't an issue. So I don't understand, I'm going to be honest with you. When I started this adventure, I never thought, because I was raised in Tifton, I never thought I would be running into kids and horses or problems or people that don't want kids and horses. Or we don't want to build something where kids can come, get off an iPad, connect with a horse, and maybe win a ribbon, build their confidence up. I'm not a political person. I don't know the politics part of this. I was told that this would not go, and that's why I didn't bring anybody with me tonight. because I felt like I was wasting my customers' times. But I did bring all my active students, and every parent stands behind me on this. And one of the issues that was brought up on this 5 acres, they said, well, you never know who adjoins their property. Well, I own the other property. I own the entire 24 acres. I just needed 5 to put an arena. Not to put my barn, not to have my horses. I just needed 5 just for the arena. My barn and the rest of it's gonna be in pasture and horses with a perimeter fence and a closed gate driveway that comes in on New River Road. It's big enough for trucks and trailers. It's not an issue. I'm not gonna be coming in or having a driveway on Old Osceola Road. There was another point brought up at the zoning meeting last time, that the traffic out there is really bad. On school, I guess school, the high school, is really bad on morning times. I'm not gonna be doing riding lessons in the morning time when school's going on. I do my riding lessons in the afternoon, and I'll have events on Saturdays. It's not gonna be during school hours, not during the traffic. And on my side of the property, where I'm at, my brother, he joins the other 12 acres, and he's got it planted in pine trees. My other brother has got the other. He farms it, and then the high school joins it. And that's where the high school has the show barn sitting, and I'm assuming they have shows there on my side of the property. I'm thinking the high school, that's what they built it for. So I'm wanting to put up an arena. I'm wanting to build an equestrian center, and to have an arena where these kids can compete, I have to go community commercial. And that's why I'm here. But I do want to pass this or look at it, and look what all my mama did. And she did that up until church groups. She did this for a long time. 30-something years. Right there on Old Osceola Road. And if y'all have any questions, I'd like, if y'all don't understand what I'm wanting to build, because it's not an actual rodeo. Just because it has to do with a horse, it doesn't mean it's a rodeo. It can be just my students having a show that day. It can be barrel racing, or it can be English. It's not actual, it's not rodeos. And that's it.
Okay. No questions.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak on behalf of the applicant? All right. Not, are there any people or anyone here that's opposed to the application? Forward, please.
And I am not a public speaker. I can swear I'm not at all, and didn't even know I was gonna do this. I have no papers or anything, but I'm
Name and
Marcia
address,
Holloway, and I live at 21 Back 40, which comes off of Old Osceola right at New River Road, the opposite of Alicia's property. And as we said at the zoning meeting, there's not a one of us that don't love horses and kids. I mean, we have kids out there all over the place. There's horses, we have cows, I have chickens. It's ag. We wouldn't mind at all, and I don't think anyone I've talked with about it would mind, or even my husband and the other people that were against it. It isn't the building of an arena, it's the commercial part of it that's really bothering people, because even though there may not be rodeos, which if I remember at the planning committee, there was a talk of rodeos being had there.
It's horse shows.
Well, I'm a
For
rodeo
kids,
and people
yeah.
coming into town, and it was gonna be a benefit for Tifton and Tift County financially, because all of this was gonna influx in. That was the big thing that we don't want. So as of now, that, I guess, is not on the table. But like I said, we love the children. We want her to be able to give horse lessons. I'd love to see horses out there. There's grass this tall now, and I mean, it would be an addition to that area to have a wonderful barn out there. that is a busy corner. We've been hit, me or family members or people coming to the house have been hit 3 or 4 times, and it hasn't been during the morning rush hour. It's been afternoon when people are leaving the hospital, going out to Forest Lakes, everybody's trying to get home. It's not just a morning traffic situation. But if it could stay ag, you wouldn't have a complaint from any of us. So I just wanted to give them our 2 cents.
Dr. Holloway, what was your address again?
21 back 40th Street.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone else would like to speak either for or against the application? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. I'm Laura Crumpton, and I live at 2181 Old Osceola Road. Been there for 14 years, been a citizen here of Tift County for 26 years, and I'm opposing it being turned commercial. Really have an issue with that. We're a very small community over there, and it's quiet. We like it that way. We have horses behind us on Dr. Hornback's property. Marcia has horses and other cattle and other wildlife there. We want it to remain ag, not commercial resident. That's our biggest thing. We understand that once you make it commercial, any other property backed up to that commercial property, it's a lot easier for that to be made commercial. We don't want it to be made commercial, we want to keep it ag. The Holloway and Judy, they own 130 acres, approximately, approximately 130 acres out there, so going out and around, and
We border both sides of.
yes, both sides. So it just,
There's a road separating.
there was a reason why I bought out there, is because of being quiet and very small community out there. We're a very small community, and I just hate to see commercial come down that way. I know, you know, maybe 50 years down the road it probably will, but you know, right now with all the surrounding area being ag, we would really like to keep that ag. So as far as horses, barn, you know, horses being fed out there, not a problem. But when you're talking actual shows and rodeos and, you know, my husband happens to be in law enforcement, and sometimes he's on days and sometimes he's on nights. And it's really hard to sleep during the day when you're on nights, and vice versa. So anyway, we're really strict on standing our ground about remaining ag and not commercial resident. Thank you for listening.
Anyone else, for or against? All right, seeing as that seems to be everyone, we'll close the public hearing, and I'll address the board with regard to conflict of interest. Pose this question: do any of you have, or you or family members or businesses that you're involved with, have any interest, financial interest or of any kind, in the application that's before the board? If so, please declare a conflict of interest. For the record reflect there are no conflict of interest. The matter is ready for action and consideration.
Okay, so we'd open the floor for a motion, either to approve or deny.
Mr. Chairman, could I
Sure.
briefly ask Chris to step back up for just a small bit, at least clarification on my view. To allow the commercial zoning there would be, by definition, spot zoning, which we don't allow. But there are certain uses under the current ag zoning which would allow her to do some of what she is required to do. But you know, the commercial aspect of it would come with parking requirements, drainage requirements, all the stuff that's in our in our unified land.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
But as far as teaching riding lessons and having small things under that ag hearing, there is a slot of allowable uses that she could perform right now without having
Yes, sir.
changes on. Is that
Yes, sir.
correct?
That was the discussion that I had with Ms. Smith today. Ms. Smith called me today. The aspect of it for the board of her having the riding lessons or having the or boarding horses on there is perfectly fine today in ag. It's the event portion that brings it into the commercial aspect. And I explained that. Me and Ms. Smith had a good conversation today to where, you know, if she took that event cycle out of it, then she could be building her horse barn today and having her riding lessons today, boarding horses today. But it's the event side, whether it's barrel racing, showing, horse shows, rodeos, that brings in the aspect of traffic, the public, lights, the noise. All that brings into the commercial aspect of it, which makes it go to the community commercial side.
So the 65 kids that are learning to ride from here right now, she could still build what she's talking about building, and they could still come and train with her
Because she said
as it is now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Commissioner. She said that she had, from my understanding today on our conversation, that she had 6 children 3 times a day, which brings that, you know, to 18 kids per day that she does lessons with, which is fine. It's the part of bringing in. She said that she wanted to have. I mean, her children would want to do competitions with other children, possibly other schools and all, which brings in the event side of
Which could result in a loudspeaker talking over that and lights if the event went past
it. Correct.
a certain
But it
time.
was actually my kids, like if my kids do a competition, a lot of the parents have asked me, we should have a show where my children can do competition. I'm sure all the parents and grandparents wanna come and watch. And Chris said I couldn't do that.
Because it falls under the event
It
side.
falls under the event side, and he's not mistaken.
Right.
He's not. And
Right.
listen, I'm a grandparent and a parent, so I understand exactly what you're talking about. My middle daughter, I don't know what you call bulldog and goats, but she did that, you know. I
Exactly.
get exactly what you're talking about. But just to reference your 1984 thing, so zoning laws have changed significantly since then. And the reason for those zoning laws is so that we have like uses and we have planned uses. And if the board, and I can't tell them what to do, but I'm paid to give them an opinion, it would by definition be spot zoning, which is against the law, to allow a commercial zoning district right in the middle of ag and residential. And that's something that we have been worked very, very hard to not do, is spot zone. But there are some allowable uses with her leaving it the same. I just wanted to make sure y'all understood that and that I understood that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Carter.
So, the question I got, I think you just answered it, but I just want to make sure that I heard you correctly. Regardless if we wanted to approve this request or not, just by, regardless of what she wanted to put there, by zoning that plot of land community commercial where it's at, with it not being contiguous with anything else, I mean, it would be against the law and against our comprehensive plan, correct?
Yes, sir, and you guys have been here long enough to know, and I'm not saying that you would do this, but this is how we have to approach stuff. If you rezone that as to community commercial, and the board says it's community commercial, she could decide next week that she wanted to have any of the allowable uses within community commercial there, not just her horse training facility, you know, that, and those uses could be any kind of commercial use that's allowed in that CC category. That's the problem with this kind of here and there zoning. You don't just get to say it's CC and you can only have that there. It's CC and every allowable use within CC falls within that category. So, you know, God forbid something could happen to her and her brother inherited, and he decided he wanted to sell it, and the next thing you know, somebody's going to put a Dollar General there, and then we've got the neighborhood coming in and saying, well, you're putting a Dollar General in the middle of what is all ag and residential. And you know, we had some Dollar Generals look at going out there, and that was not well received, and that's in areas where the zoning did have some contiguous and like zoning areas. So, I mean, I understand exactly what she wants to do and why she wants to do it. But, you know, the zoning laws now, as in the state of Georgia, compared to what they were in 1984, are drastically different. And that's got to do with planned development and controlled growth, rather than just a hodgepodge of different zoning uses.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion, because it would not go along with the comprehensive plan and would create spot zoning. And also, it doesn't meet, some of the 11 standards. I'll make a motion that we deny this request as presented.
All right, we have a motion to deny the request. Do we have a second?
I'll say.
Okay, all in favor of denial? All right, thank you. All right, we move on to the consent agenda. 7.1 is the motion to approve ordinance 2024-02, which is animal control leash and tethering law. 7.2, motion to approve writing off the county's portion of real and personal property taxes for the building 211 Tift Avenue North, which is the old Gazette building. 7.3, motion to approve an addendum to the Watkins and Associates Agreement for Courthouse Annex Preliminary Engineering and Surveying. 7.4, motion to approve Resolution 2024-05 amended surplus vehicles. 7.5, motion to approve amendment to the scrap tire abatement reimbursement program agreement with EPD for additional funding. 7.6, motion to approve catering contract with Intermillion for county employee picnic. Are there any consent agenda items that any commissioner would like to move to be considered singularly? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, Commissioner Hester moved and Commissioner Wood seconded. All in favor? Approve the consent agenda. All right, thank you. All right, on the regular agenda, we have 8.1, the financial software agreement.
Mr. Chairman, the board asked us at the work session to look at the termination language in that. I think we're using our escape clause, but
Yes, escape clause.
yeah, termination language, and we have looked at that. Mr. Riles ready to kind of explain that.
The pricing of the contract is set up so that the, basic recovery value of the contract for the vendor is a 60-month or 5-year contract. So, they're not in a position to be able to say, well, look, you just give us 30 days notice and we're going, and you can get out of the agreement. But we did talk about the deliverables under the contract, and the contract has provisions in there that if they don't meet those deliverables, then they're of course in breach, and within 30 days notice of that in writing, then we can discontinue the contract. Now, how that's managed after that could result in potentially some litigation if we are in disagreement about that. But I had some discussions. I had with one of their owners, as a matter of fact, today, and one of the concerns that I also discussed was there's probably be about 9 months, but in the actual implementation and training of this process. And so what we weren't interested in, or what I told them that we weren't interested in, is having these payments made without knowing what those deliverables, knowing what we were getting. We've changed. The agreement has been modified, and there's a new agreement in your package. Instead of us paying and carrying some of that money up front, the provision is now that when they're going to come in, they'll set up, we'll pay 50% of this upon the contract, but the balance of this contract, when we can go live and actually see it's operable, we have 60 days thereafter to make payment. We're set up otherwise, that phases, and we paid the bulk of this before we ever got to see it work. So we modified that part of the agreement that at least give us an opportunity to make sure this thing's going to work without having to pay the bulk of the payments up front. And then thereafter, and I really thought they were very responsive to what we discussed, and I said, it's not going to work. I said, we're just not going to pay for something that's not cheap. And he said, look, it's going to work. If it doesn't, we're going to make it work. There's a cure provision in here, but in the event that they can't make it right, then we give them the 30 days, we'll declare a breach, and we'll be done.
So initially, we were going to pay how much up front?
I'd have to come back and look, it was scheduled a little differently than the first contract.
Let's see, first year investment was $67,530, and then yearly $29,930, so that first portion, Tony, was.
But I think,
It's 50% when executed,
the con,
then 25% after 60 days.
that's right. And so what happened is,
25% after the next 60 days.
So
right,
that,
so
they
what
would have
happened
that
is,
full amount before we went live.
right, so you, basically by the day that you want to turn it on and say, okay, we're ready to actually operate the software with our data set, you would have paid 100%, and you'd not seen anything. So what the deal is now, we'll pay 50% up front at execution of the contract, and then after we go live, from the day that's the declared date in the agreement, then we'll have 60 days after that to make the next 50% payment. And it gives us 60 days to vet the system, make sure everything's working.
It won't be a 50-25,
That's
50-50.
right. That's correct.
Okay.
But that's on top of if they're in breach. If the
Right.
person doesn't do what they say it's gonna do,
Right.
then we can end that at any time.
Right. Okay. Any questions? All right, we have a motion.
I make a motion that we accept, what was the name of
Edmunds,
the, I got off of Edmunds
Edmunds Gov.
GovTech
Second.
software.
All right, Commissioner Stone seconded, all in favor? All right, thank you. 8.2, consideration of AIA contract for professional architectural services with McCall and Associates Incorporated.
Mr. Chairman, we discussed this at some length at the work session. I think the board just wanted some time to think about. This is a, you know, we're looking at a significant capital expenditure with addition to the courthouse, renovation of the courthouse. The renovation we're talking about doing at the Gazette Building, the associated parking, associated drainage. We discussed that. Tony went through the AIA contract as basically a standard contract for architects. He made some changes in that, and we came down and showed you what the compensation schedule was, how it's paid, and at the end of that, you know, it's about the 7% of the contracted cost. When I say the contracted cost, what we have it built for. We don't know exactly what that amount is yet, and we won't know until we get roughly 90% plans, Tony. Is that a fair assessment? So, you know, this is a process where we'll have plans that are finished and there'll be bidding going on, and we'll be working with a construction manager, or, you know, a contractor at risk, a construction manager at risk. We talked about what that was, so we'll answer any questions you got. Nothing's changed since last week. We still feel very good about what you got in front of you. We feel very good about us being able to deliver that project on time and within budget, hopefully under budget.
Any questions? All right, we have a motion.
So moved.
Okay, Commissioner Hester moved to approve. Have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Woods second, all in favor? All right, thank you. 8.3, alcohol beverage license application submitted by Ann L. Smith for a retail malt beverage package and retail wine package license for Circle K, number 2707255, located at 4440 Union Road.
Mr. Chairman, we talked about this at the work session as well. The discussion we had that is, you know, we don't issue alcohol license until they actually have received their CO and their business license, which they can't get their business license until they have the CO, and they can't apply for the alcohol license until they have that either. We went through this not too long ago with another retail outlet. As of today, they're not in a position to have their CO. They've got a significant amount of paving still to take care of. So staff recommends we table this to the June meeting, at which time they should be ready to have their COs in process.
Okay, everybody fine with table?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Do we need to
Need a motion?
make a motion?
Yes, sir, please.
So moved.
All right,
Second.
Commissioner Hester second. All in favor of tabling this issue? All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Carter, we've already let you talk a lot tonight. Do you want to say anything else?
Well, we're missing a couple of folks tonight. Some of them are under the weather, some of them are, had other events. Thank y'all for carrying the load. Everybody knows I spent the weekend with my two grandsons at I guess the happiest place on earth. I think it's happy for young people. I don't know that it's actually happy for old people. I enjoyed seeing them be happy. I'm still recuperating. Just to remind the board that I will be leaving tomorrow. I'll be in Athens half a day tomorrow, all day Wednesday, and then coming back Thursday. Teaching classes with.
You're going to teach?
There he is, yes, sir, for constitutional officers.
Well, that sounds so surprised, he's a good teacher.
Nothing like building my confidence, guys. Mr. Walker will be here in case you need anything. He's completely capable of handling whatever, so just wanted you to know I'll be out of pocket.
All right, thanks for the warning. Mr. Rowell? Stan? No, sir. Donnie? Teach? Great.
I won't say teach, I've said it once, nothing.
Okay. All right, no need for an executive session, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? All right, thank you very much.
Ms. Smith?
Good to see you.
Yeah, you doing it?
Doing all right. How about you?